Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the Bishop. It's the Tier 5 British SPG. This one's located on the northeast spawn of Province, and it's under the command of Frank 1776. Okay, game on. 4.5 inch howitzer mounted in a Valentine hull with a casement on top instead of a turret. The Bishop is actually quite a fun Arty to play because it's got the same sort of, well, fire rate as the PP, but it doesn't have the same sort of range, so you have to get rather close to the enemy if you want to get some good shots. And at the moment, Frank's placing it as close as he dare to the southeast corner of the map to try and get shots on the enemy as they come up the road. Rounds out. Oh, he got a direct hit! Somebody was underneath that shell when it actually hit. Now, 450 alpha is the amount for this particular howitzer, and he just got another direct hit. Those might be penetrating shots. We'll have to wait and see. Oh, it looks like he hit the ELC because he's missing a huge chunk of his hit points. That's out. Just missed him. Yeah, so it looks like the ELC took a hit on the way up the road. We don't know who the other one was, but certainly it looks like he did some serious damage to those guys. Now, the Bishop, they only made 100 of them for British use. The 48 of them were actually sold to the Turkish during the war, actually whilst the war was still on. Mainly because they didn't actually need them anymore, because they had the Sexton 1 and the Sexton 2 in production in Canada, and they were due to be shipped to the UK, and they would use 25-pounder guns. So the Bishop, even though they were using 25-pounders, they weren't particularly good as an Arty because they had a limited range, and also they were fairly slow. This Arty will do 24 kilometers an hour, so very slow indeed. And of course it couldn't carry a whole lot of ammo either, which meant that they had to carry a trailer around if they wanted to cart the ammo in to enable them to actually do some serious damage on the enemy. As anyone who actually knows, if they've watched David Fletcher's lectures, any tracked vehicle trying to pull a trailer is bound to have trouble because well, tracked vehicles are just really not designed to pull things behind them. So it looks like a lot of the enemy have decided to come over this side of the map, and we're 3 down already, and they've got a major number of tanks on this side. Only a few on the other side. In fact, we just lost the only tank we did have over on the west side of the map. Oh, he got a kill though. He's got his first kill, a Chi-Ni. Took a direct hit and he's out the game now. Can we do the same to this Stug 3 Ausrung? Think so. Rounds out. Looks good. Yes, it's another kill. Beautiful shot. The Stug did take some damage just before the shell arrived, but it did have the right effect. Oh, another direct hit. That was on the Churchill. Can he do the same to this Stug? I suspect he can, but it's a full health Stug, so he probably won't kill it with one shot. But he did take most of his hit points. 423. Oh my god, that player is really going to be livid right now. And he's judged that he pulled back. He didn't actually. He's probably hugging the rock right now, praying that he doesn't get hit again. Now, if you're wondering why I'm slurring my words at the moment, I'm not drunk or anything like that. I'm just having a lot of trouble enunciating my words recently. Not sure quite what it is. It might even be something serious. I'm not sure. But yes, finding it difficult. So if you think that I'm actually drunk, no. In fact, I rarely take alcohol. Might be just one beer in the evenings, and that might be it. I'm a bit of a lightweight, I'm afraid. Okay, he's not going to get a shot on that Panzer IV unless he pops out a bit more. And no, that one hit the rock face. We're down by 2, and we still don't have any players over on the west side of the map. And Su-85 is exchanging fire with our Churchill, and of course, as you know, the Su-85 is a premium Russian tank destroyer based on the Stug, and there's that other Stug, and yes, he was hugging the rock, and he almost took a shot there, but I think that he can get him with the next one. He's decided to go for the Churchill, but he got a bit of a reticule bloom there, so he's having to dial in again, but he got him. That's his third kill. He's racking them up now. But we're 3 behind on the enemy, so we're running out of teammates. Rounds out the Stug. Hits the rock base, so bad RNG on that one. Somebody has decided to go into the cap on over down in the centre of the map in the valley. Yes, we are running short on teammates, so we're still down by 3. The enemy's capping behind that rock. There he is, rounds out. This should hurt him. It did. He's out the game. That's the 4th kill. So, can we kill that Stug and make that 5? Or are we going for the M4A1? Dialing in. Rounds out. Oh, we did get him! That's his 5th kill. On the move as well. He timed it perfectly. And, yep, the M4A1 is gone. So now he's going after the other side of the valley instead of going after that Stug. I prefer to go to the Stug, I think, because he's so low on hit points. Misses the Stug 3. Or is it? No, it's a Stug. It's a Churchill 1 rather, not Stug 3. Misses the Churchill 1. Pulls back a bit to get back into cover because, of course, he needs the range as well to make sure that the shell goes up over the obstructions in the way and hits the target. Yeah, somebody in the battlefield, the Type T-34 is saying, good job, Arty. I think he's suddenly realised that the Arty player actually has 1/3 of the kills on the enemy team. 1/3 of the enemy team, rather, not 1/3 of the kills. In fact, actually, Frank has more than half the kills that their team have made so far. So let's see if he can do a little better. Only need 1 more kill to get that Top Gun. And he could just about shoot that Stug Dry down at the other end of the map, but he's not aiming there. He's actually aiming a lot closer, hoping the M10 RBFM will spot one of the enemy tanks as he's coming up. All the M10 needs to do is push that wreck of the M4A1 out from behind the house and have a quick peek to see if there's anyone there. There's the T67. Now, you can't get the shot over that unless the guy pulls back. And it looks like he's trying to engage our M10 RBFM, who's also receiving fire from the enemy Arty, which happens to be an M41 HMC. In fact, there's 2 of them on the enemy team. We lost our teammate Arty, the M41, earlier in the game. They're changing position again, mainly because the enemy are back in the cap, and we can't see where they are at the moment, but the 7th M41 should be able to tell us if we can get out from behind this rock. We're only 1 down on the enemy now. So we have clawed a few back, but that rock directly in front of us is not an obstruction at the moment. Now, what's the betting? I reckon he'll probably be behind the rock still, but he'll be just to one side of the Panzer IV. Our teammate in the M10 RBFM's lost a lot of hit points though. He's very well down. No, he's not there. Okay, so I was wrong. I would test the bushes. He's down to 17 rounds. He can still do it. Oh, he got a reduction in hit points, so he did hit the target. So he is actually sitting behind that house, just there on the corner. Rounds out again. No, he's moved from that position. In fact, I suspect he's fine. He's moved forward to the rock again. T67 managed to kill our M10 RBFM. Yes, he's there. He's actually... Oh, no, he's actually behind the house this time. But he daren't move out, because if he does, then Frank's going to have a word with him and pump a shell into him. No, it's only going to hit the house. Unfortunately, these shells don't have very big splash radius, so it's a bit difficult to actually hit the target or even get a splash kill. 2.2 meters, which is about the same as the Fifi. He's moved down to the other end. Now he can hit him. Oh, but he was tempting him to fire, being cheeky. Oh, and the M41 on the enemy team is just trying to counter battery. He stunned us and tracked us, so we need to change positions. He'll try again, for sure. It might be a good idea to go behind the bushes, right up in the corner. Then he might be able to get a shot. Oh, yep, he did try again, and he failed this time because the shell actually hit the same place we were before. It just means we'll have to keep moving from now on. Yeah, you can see the ring on the mini-map showing where the enemy Arty is focusing, and they're hitting the wrong spot. Don't knock any trees down. Oh, that's given away our position. The enemy now knows we've changed position and in which direction. So I would not be surprised if he tries again, but this time round he actually does hit the right area. Churchill's unspotted, but our Semavente is actually down there, so he should be able to see the guy. So it's very likely he's actually moved from that position. Yes, he is just a bit further off. He's trying to have a go at the Semavente. He'll do that again. Yeah, he was just changing his orientation at the moment. He'll definitely try and do it again because he's trying to side scrape on the Semavente. Side scraping doesn't work when you've got an RT firing at you because they will just land the shell on top of you regardless. Oh, he's gone sneaky and rounds out. Unfortunately, he didn't lead the target there, so he didn't get that one in. He's changing position to avoid counter battery by the M41. I wouldn't be surprised if the M41 lobbed the shell in just where we were. Okay, this looks good. In fact, he's backing it up to give himself a bit of cover. Unfortunately, it means the Type T-34 has moved to the position next to the house to look down into the valley, and that gives the T-67 a chance to move out. Now, this is for a Top Gun. Rounds out. No. 10 shells left. You only get 39 shells, so he's burned through nearly 3/4 of his ammo. There's the Churchill. Can't get a shot from this angle, but he's going to go up the far end, I think. Sooner or later, he has to. Fires around in. No, hits the building again. And that's the 2-minute warning. Gone off into the bushes, just in case the M41 tries again. I'm pretty sure the M41's firing at our 720. Looks like he's lost a few hit points just recently. And there's the Churchill again. Go for it. Yup. He's very, very close to getting it, and other enemy tanks are now coming into view. Now go for it now. That's better. He got some damage this time. He's trying to go for the 720. He's capping because he knows he's got 2 minutes left. Unfortunately, he does get the 720, but our next round hits the Churchill and strips most of his hit points off. And here comes the M41. Now we've got to go to shotgun mode to take this guy on. Go for it. Yes, that's a kill shot, and that's a Top Gun. But now there's that T-67 to deal with. He just killed our Type T-34 with the last one alive. Oh no, we just missed him. And the T-67 now knows where we are. He would have seen that shot, surely. I go to shotgun mode and go close range. And there he is. Oh, another kill. So potential Radleys. He's got 7 kills. One more kill needed to get the Radley Walters. Fires around in at the Churchill. He's not there. Unfortunately, we can't spot now because, unfortunately, there's 3 enemies in the cap. So he fires another round in, and that's it. The cap has been captured. Well, that was an ace tanker for Frank 1776 in the Bishop, and not any ace tanker. That was his first ace tanker in the Bishop, so congratulations. He also got a Bruiser medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he ended up with 21 in this one, as well as a high caliber for dealing the most damage in the game, a Top Gun for getting at least 6 kills. In fact, he ended up with 7, and a Defender as well for resetting the cap and getting at least 70 defense points in the process. And his win rate was 11,552. I'm afraid the problem in the end was down to the fact that he couldn't spot the enemy tanks down in the cap area without exposing himself to enemy fire, and that would have given them a quick and easy kill on him. And as a consequence, with 3 tanks in the cap, they were able to cap out fairly quickly. You can see that there's so many tanks hit, you have to scroll the bar to actually see all the damage he did. 11,552 is a very high win rate, Super Unicum standard, and quite a bit more. Let's have a look at team score and see where he was. Well, definitely got the highest damage with 2,363. The next highest scorer was the AMX ELC on the enemy team with 1,205. I think he did actually hit that AMX, but didn't actually do that much damage on him when he actually came up. That was the one that we thought that he'd actually hit, but it turned out it was a different tank that he actually hit coming up the hill. He did hit several tanks coming up the hill during that early stage of the game. Go back to the team score. There we go. He did get twice as much damage as the next tank, or nearly twice as much. Of course, being the ELC with 1,205, and the third highest damage in the game turned out to be the 720 M41, who was also trying to reset the cap, and he got 974 hit points of damage. When it came to kills, he definitely had the highest number with 7. In fact, none of his team managed to get more than 1 kill except him. And on the enemy team, it's the T67 who got 3 kills, and the Stug 3 Ausrung G who got 2. Now that T67 was, well, he didn't really do the right thing. He actually poked his head round the corner when he was low on hit points, and Frank managed to blow him to part because, of course, T67s have very, very little armor at all. And with his 450 Alpha, he only needed 1 hit on the target to make sure that he was out of the game. When it came to base XP, even though he was on the losing team, he still had the 4th highest base XP in the game. Yes, because the Churchill 3 got 774, the AMX ELC got 634, the Stug 3 Ausrung G got 593, and Frank got 592. So very, very close to getting the 3rd place as well. Frank fired 38 rounds, got 15 direct hits on the enemy, and 3 penetrations. Let's have a look and see who they were. Well, we can see 3 penetrations listed. He didn't do it on the Su-85 or the Chi-Nu, but he did pen the M41, the one that got too close and got shotgunned at close range. He also penned the Stug 3 Ausrung G, or at least one of them he penned, and he also penned the other one. That was the one he got 423 hit points. That was the one he did the massive amount of damage in 1 shot, and that guy must have been livid after that happened to him. He also splashed 19 of the enemy, 2,363 hit points of damage, of which 1,874 were at more than 300 meters, so a significant amount of damage at close range. He did receive 1 hit by way of splash damage. Yes, one of the enemy M41s worked out where he was and landed a round on him, but it didn't kill him. And he also damaged 10 of the enemy, killed 7, and got 97 defense points resetting the cap. 33,491 credits for the game, 4,536 for Courageous Resistance. That's for getting an Epic or Battle Hero medal in a losing or drawn game. 38,027 credits altogether, and after repair, ammunition, resupply and consumables, he took away a profit of 25,231 credits. He would have made a profit even if he'd been on a free-to-play account. He picked up 25 bonds because he got a mission achievement, and 888 XP 531 for courageous resistance, and took away 1,419 altogether. Let's take a quick look at the armor for this vehicle, and you can see it does look a quite big square casement, doesn't it, on top of that Valentine hull. But the Valentine hull is incredibly strong. Look at that, 60 millimeters of armor on the front of a light tank. Yeah, that's a lot of armor for a little thing. And in fact, this is where the light tanks and the other enemy tanks would probably auto aim. And of course it would then just hit hard armor and it wouldn't do much damage. Sides of the vehicle are only 50 millimeters thick on impact, but it's actually 53. And the casement, that's the weak spot, 30 millimeters of armor around that, so easily to pen. And the engine deck is another weak spot just there. It's only 10 millimeters thick on the engine deck, so if you want to take one out with an autocannon or something, that's where, well, you'd aim for the back of the vehicle. 17 millimeters thick there, so the shells would just go straight through. Arty should be able to pen this one, only 10 millimeters thick, so yeah, that will easily allow shells in. And of course, if we look at the live model, yeah, everywhere on this vehicle is, well, it's actually a bit wrong. If you look at it from above, you'd say, yeah, that's definitely pennable. It's only if you look at it from the side, you say it's strong because of the armor, and that's mainly down to the fact that any cannon shell or anything like that is going to have difficulty trying to get through the actual side armor and frontal armor. It's only the rear that you can actually pen quite nicely. Okay, let's have a quick look at the modules. Okay, driver on his own, sitting up front in the hull, and he's actually got two viewports. Directly behind him, underneath the turret, is where they store the deep store of ammunition. But of course, they do have a trailer as well, which is carrying out the ammo. Normally, what actually happens is they open the doors at the back, and there you can see the loader and two big stores or racks of ammo in the sides of the casement. And the loader would actually put the shells or prepare the shells and stick them on the engine deck. And if they had a trailer, the driver would get out of the front, go round to the back to the trailer, unhook it, and then feed the shells onto the engine deck. The loader would take them, feed them into the breech, and then the gunner would shoot them. The gunner on the right hand side, the loader directly behind him, and the commander or TC on the left hand side of the vehicle. He's also got the radio set. He's also got a rack of shells. But in actual fact, once the doors are open at the back, there's much more room to move about. And the loader would actually, more than anything, would actually be sitting half in, half out the cockpit and feeding the shells, which the driver was putting onto the engine deck. And of course, he'd prime them and everything, get them ready, and then shove them into the breech when they were ready to go. So yes, you can see there's one fuel tank on the left hand side with the engine in the middle, with the transmission directly behind that. It is basically a Valentine tank. That's what it is. Same model, except for the casement. The casement is there where the turret normally would be. So if you want to get an ammo rack on this one, you just need to aim for the center of the casement and you'll hit one of the ammo racks. It'll go in one side or the other side. In fact, it might even go straight through the vehicle and hit both of them. In which case you would get a nice big bang as the ammo rack went off. Bit difficult to get the ammo rack inside because of course you have to aim between the two rollers in the vehicle, but of course that's fairly easy because the rollers, well, there's no protection. In fact, you know, it wouldn't have only taken the British a short while to actually put steel sheets over the sides of the vehicle to actually protect the rollers from enemy fire. But I guess they didn't do that because they felt that it's easier to actually dislodge mud and all the stuff that gets caught up in the tracks if there's no steel plates. Of course, the Germans put steel plates in alongside their vehicles to stop the Russians shooting anti-tank rifles at the crew and taking the crew out. And of course, the Germans did exactly the same to the Soviets. They realized that they could penetrate the enemy tanks with a high caliber rifle, and so they started doing the same. And that's why they ended up with schiessen and those steel plates you see on the sides of T-34s. So yes, these tanks didn't have any steel sheets, but of course that is another vulnerable spot. But it's easier to actually just aim for the turret or casement and try and get the big bang from there. And that's where all the modules are on the Bishop. So yes, he nearly carried his team to victory, but unfortunately on this occasion it wasn't possible because he needed a spotter and all his spotters had been killed. And in the end, there was no way he could spot for himself, even with his view range of 250 meters. If he'd actually gone to the edge to try and see where the enemy tanks were, they would have taken advantage of it and he would have been out the game. So he made the wise decision to just keep firing into the cap and try and guess where they were, but sadly it ended up with a loss. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like, do subscribe to our channel, leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm, and thank you for watching.